Today in Cloud Gaming, we're going to be talking about a big update on the Resident Evil franchise on Stadia, but before we dive into that, I want to quickly talk about PlayStation Plus, as the brand new Essential, Extra, and Premium tier have now arrived. While I'm not ready to give you a full rundown and impressions video just yet, I do want to give you my quick thoughts upon playing it for a couple of hours. Basically, it's PlayStation Now. Now, I do want to point out I'm specifically talking about the cloud gaming aspect in this video since this is a cloud gaming news video, but yeah, it's PlayStation Now with a different catalog of games. A much better catalog in my opinion, but one that's still limited to the PS4, PS3, PS2, PS1, and PSP lineup. While we now have games like Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut and Spider-Man Miles Morales available to stream, it needs to be noted that it is the PS4 version you're playing on the cloud. That means don't go into either of these expecting high frame rates. Both of those titles run at 30 FPS on the PlayStation 4. Likewise, if you were looking forward to playing something like Death Stranding Director's Cut or Returnal that's only available on PlayStation 5, as of right now that is not an option. So if you're deciding to check it out, just be aware of those two things. Likewise, I also need to mention that I do think the game catalog is much improved. The new game additions are games that I actually care for and would want to play. We're talking really big gets like Red Dead Redemption 2, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, among many other big hitters, and huge indie games like Hollow Knight. The overall selection and quality of games available on the service definitely seem like a big step up, but it also came at the cost of a lot of niche games and smaller titles being removed. But that's not all, there are some big omissions that were previously available on Now that are no longer available on the new tiers, such as the Metal Gear Solid franchise. Some of the older classic Sonic titles are also not present anymore. Either way, these are just some quick thoughts after playing it for a couple of hours. I will have an impressions video later this week, so stay tuned for that. Once again, it's pretty much PlayStation Now with a new selection of games. If PlayStation Now hasn't worked for you ever since they upgraded to 1080p streaming, chances are it won't work for you right now. Likewise, if it's worked great in the past, it'll continue to work great right now. And with that out of the way, let's move over to the Stadia related news that really focuses on Resident Evil. Just yesterday, Capcom held their Summer Games Fest event, and it was a look at some of the titles they have in the works. They showed off Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, Resident Evil 4, as well as Exoprimal, none of which have been confirmed for Stadia sadly. But they did talk about Resident Evil 8 and a whole bunch of things that will be arriving for the game this winter. First off is the third person mode, which will allow you to enjoy the entire campaign experience from a whole new perspective that speaks to the classic Resident Evil formula. Mercenaries mode will also be getting an additional Orders update in which you can play as some of the bosses from Resident Evil 8 and try out some pretty crazy looking moves. And lastly, the Resident Evil 8 Shadows of Rose DLC will also be arriving this winter, and it will be picking up right where the end credit scenes left off. You'll be playing as Ethan's daughter and really be fighting to survive against the environment itself, as well as a host of all new enemies. While that covers all the big updates surrounding Resident Evil 8 itself, there is the tie-in game Reverse that finally got an update. It's a multiplayer Resident Evil game that was initially shown alongside Resident Evil 8 and is actually a part of your purchase, so if you own RE8, you're going to be able to play this for free as soon as it releases. They didn't really talk too much about it, but they did state that it will be releasing October 28th. Now, the Stadia store page actually pointed out to Reverse arriving on Stadia as soon as it released, so unless something drastic has changed, it should still find its way over to Stadia this October alongside the rest of the platforms. At the very least, it's something to look forward to. I'm curious to know more about the game, especially since they've been so quiet on it. I'm not gonna lie, I can't say I feel too great about the game, especially because of how quiet they've been on it, and the fact that they only really gave a release date for it seems a little suspicious to me, but I guess only time will tell how it ends up turning out. While that covers the news for this video, I should point out that Stadia should have their This Week on Stadia blog post today. That'll more than likely be covered in tomorrow's news video, unless it's really massive news, in which case I might cover it this very same day. Lastly, I do want to ask that if you have any questions about the brand new PlayStation Plus tiers, to let me know down below so I can cover them in my upcoming impressions video. But aside from that, if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful at all, be sure to hit that like button as it really does help the channel out, and if you're wanting more content like this, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. As always, I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching. This has been the Virtual Cloud, giving you the latest and greatest on everything cloud gaming related, and until next time, I'll catch you in the clouds.